Okay everyone, so in this next lesson, let's try to go and work through the media queries of our site here. So you would see that once we try to resize our browser, the browser will be displaying our website and our navigation broke here. We can see that our header here has broken, or let's just say it doesn't look good. And you would see that some of the contents are overlapping. And again, the thing here, you would see that we have some extra scroll horizontally that is happening. So we don't want that. So let's go work on our navigation here first. So let's look for our header nav. So some developers would normally go and create a media query. For example, let's say they would want to go and create here media queries section for all of the styles. But me, I personally like doing my media queries. So let's say we have this header nav here. I go and try to put my media query only screen, if you remember in our previous lesson, and we will maximize the use of max width here and 600 pixels as our max width for our desktop design. And then here we have our header nav class. So this is our header nav that has this following properties. Now we would want to change some of this content here once we go down to our media query rule and the screen goes below 600 pixels. So I would want the width, instead of 37.5%, I would want it to be 86%. Then the top would be 8%. The left would be 50%. Then I would want to transform it and translate. Oh, before that, let's go and try to see our style here. So you would see now that we have our navigation here. So we were able to change the layout using the media query here. Once the screen of our desktop here or our browser here has changed to below or within the 600 pixels breakpoint that we've made here. So if I go and try to put a transform property here and give it a translate of negative 50%, so let's go and try to open our browser here and refresh. Now we have our navigation on the center. Now let's try to go to our LIs in our navigation, and then let's give it a class name of, let me just select all of this out, then so at least we won't need to copy and paste it. Class, and then let's give it a class name of header nav li, and then we would want to go and select all of this here and go back to our section here from where we first created our media query. So of course we would want to go and select the header nav li. I would suggest that you go and copy paste the name of the class name that you've created, so at least you won't have a difficult time, because sometimes you might end up making a mistake. So I would highly recommend that once you create a class name, you copy and paste that and then select it and use it in your CSS styles. So at least you will be avoiding making mistakes, typographical errors in your selectors, and you won't have to do debugging, which is something that really isn't pleasant, guys, especially if you're really in a hurry, or let's say you will be saving a lot of time in trying to figure out things by doing that. Instead of you retyping it in your CSS styles, you just copy paste the class name that you have used, just to ensure that you won't be making any typographical error. So let's say Here right now we have the header nav list here. What I would want to do here is I would want to also apply the media only screen and max width of 600 pixels, and I would want to put this class selector inside of it. And then let's try to go and let me just arrange the alignment here. And then let's go and change the font size to 8.85 rem and the margin to 0. And let's first see how that will look on our browser now. Okay, so there we go. We have it a bit smaller. Let's have the margin 0 and let's have it display in line. Then let's go back to our browser and refresh. Let's see how that will look. Okay, so let's add some media queries for our UL also. Let's go and create here at media only screen and max width of 600 pixels and put the UL element or UL selector and then give it a margin 0 auto and margin. Let's first see how that will look. Don't forget the colon here, then refresh. Okay, so we can see here that there's some changes now. We have our border. We can see now that the texts are a little bit more smaller and it's not occupying too much space. So I would want to add some margin at the bottom here, or let's put some space below it. Margin bottom 4 pixels. Let's see how that will look in our browser. Okay, so instead of using the UL selector here, guys, let's be specific. So at least you won't be confused, guys. I would suggest that you also used here a class name. So I'm going to use header nav and then the modifier for the UL. So that will be here. We are at the header nav and then we will be trying to modify the UL element here. So let's go and put that inside of our header UL and let's see if what will be the display, if it will still be the same. So I'm going to select here header nav UL and let's try to refresh our browser here. Let's see if there will be changes. Okay, so that means we were able to correctly target the UL element that is inside of the nav element, which is inside of the div element that is named header nav. Okay, so if you're seeing here the hierarchy, I'm hoping you're getting the idea here. Just take note, everyone, that I'm doing the not so efficient way of doing media queries here, guys. I'm just doing this method of specifying each of the media queries on their specific code block because I want you to practice and really get the hand in getting the idea or in getting the concept. Because you can also do it by means of if you have a certain breakpoint here, you can actually put this inside of this code block. Okay, but I'm not going to do that, guys. I just want to specifically specify the media query for a specific class selector or element in a separate media query rule. So at least you'll have an idea. Okay, so this is the media query for the header nav div. Now let's go and select that and then let's put here, this is the media query for the header nav UL. And here we have here media query for the header nav. Okay, so let me just remove this, of course. That's not header nav div. Now we have here header nav li or list. Okay, so at least it will be very clear for you once you try to, or other developers who will be working in your project will be able to understand that this is the hierarchy from where you made your media queries. So here we have an unordered list and so on. So I hope you're getting the idea on how to perform media queries, applying media queries for a maximum width breakpoint of 600 pixels here. And now we can see that it looks a lot better than the previous size of our header navigation, and it has a different layout when the browser is in full screen. And when we resize it to a smaller screen, you would see that it's a different layout. So another way to check on your media queries and to try to figure out things when you're doing debugging will be to use again the developer tools here. And as I've said, you can test out your design using the developer tools, and you would see here that in the iPhone that has a 375 pixels size, it breaks, right guys? So you have to consider what size of breakpoint would you want to specify for a specific device screen. So let's say the screen will be below 297 pixels here. So you will have to apply a media query for that. If you're planning to create the layout of the website that will be viewed on such a device that has a 297 pixel um, screen size. So if we check out the Galaxy iPad here, so you can specify different breakpoints based from the device that you are expecting that your possible clients or visitors for visitors on the site will be using. So let's say a visitor will be using an iPhone 6, 7. So you have to specify a media query for that breakpoint, which is 375. If the viewer of your page will be using an iPad, this is going to be the layout. So you can use the 768 pixels breakpoint for applying the layout that you would want to appear on the screen or on the device of your visitor. So that's how media queries work, guys. You can go and try to specify a specific breakpoint for different devices. One of my suggestions will really be to test your website in different devices. But the good thing about the developer tools in browsers that are present, like here in Firefox, you would see that we can test out and check how your site will be looking on a device that has a screen of 768 pixels, which is specifically an iPad. And that's the beauty of the developer tools, guys. You can do a lot of debugging and testing out. But I would still suggest that you figure out things and try to check how your site will look on an actual device, such as different screen sizes, desktop, from tablets, from mobile devices. So at least you'll have an idea on how your site will be looking when it is viewed on a specific device. So I want you to go and test things out, everyone. Try to figure out how you can go and try to apply media queries here. I really want you to try testings out because I will not be here all the time to guide you. So figuring things out will really be a good practice for you guys. So try to figure out how you will be able to apply the different media queries in different device sizes depending on the type of design that you would want to implement in your projects. Okay, so I hope you got the idea here. So that will be for the first part of our media query in our project here. So let's go and work on some of the other parts that are here in our main project, and we'll be applying some additional media queries in the different sections of our project here. So thank you everyone. See you on our next lesson.